of one of the coronavirus testing scheme um, centers, and I'm just going to let you take a look. Hold on. So I'm right in front of the one of the community testing center for our Hong Kong Universal COVID-19 testing scheme, and so this broadcast I'm going to talk more about the COVID testing scheme that we have recently launched in Hong Kong, the Universal COVID-19 testing scheme. So on Tuesday, on the 1st of September, the Hong Kong government have just launched a universal COVID-19 testing scheme amid of the critical third wave of COVID-19 in Hong Kong. So our chief executive, Carrie Lam, and some specialists believe that mass testing subsidized by the government is necessary for cutting the community transmission chain as soon as possible. So that is why, as you can see in front of me, there is the Universal Community Test Programs. So our chief executive, Carrie Lam, said the voluntary testing can provide a basics for relaxing social distancing rules as well. So this scheme is actually a one-off free voluntary COVID-19 testing scheme. So it allows all Hong Kong residents who is holding a valid Hong Kong ID or birth certificate and having no symptom can participate in the mass testing voluntarily. So in the whole Hong Kong, we got around 141 centers in all 18 districts. So the schemes required a testing professional to administer a nose and throat swab to collect a sample. And similar to the measures imposed when entering some indoors area in Hong Kong, temperature checking, mask wearing, and social distancing will be required when going into the testing centers. So people who got negative will receive a text message on their mobile phones, and people who test positive will be informed by the Department of Health immediately and sent to specific facilities or hospitals for isolation and treatment. So some reports said that around 126,000 of people have already took the test on first day. But this scheme has actually caused a lot of people trying to protest against it. People who support this scheme said that, so I'm just going to walk around. So people who support the scheme said that it's good because it can ensure yourself and your family that they're in good health and won't have the coronavirus spreading around. So, and it can also find the invisible patients. So it can make both yourself and your family much more comfortable and doesn't have to worry much. But on the other hand, some people and also they said that it's free, so why not? So because everyone got a chance to take this free coronavirus testing. So some people think that it's good that our government provides such a service to our citizens and allowing us to take the scheme without paying $1. So some think that it's great, but also people against it. Also, there are a lot of Hong Kong protesters against this scheme, saying that they're worried about the China CCP will collect their DNA, and they also question the effectiveness of the COVID-19 testing scheme. So because it's just one-off, so a lot of people said that it's no use to taking the scheme because like it only can ensure you that that day or that period of time you don't have the coronavirus. Then how about after you take the test? You can still have a risk of getting coronavirus after then. So um, this is one of the questions that people pose towards the effectiveness of the scheme, and they also question that because a lot of with the quarantine and mask wearing and all these kind of prevention doing, if the COVID-19 testing, with a lot of people already got the COVID-19 testing, a lot of them would think that they are safe, so they didn't need to do these kind of prevention. It may cause another wave of coronavirus as well. And they also question about about the effectiveness of getting a fake positive test result, because the question about the accuracy of the COVID-19 testing, because some said that the political situation calmed down. So because actually I'm just walking towards another protest right now against what I was talking about, the COVID-19 testing scheme. So today they are going on a so-called peace rally, and they didn't apply for the government to. They didn't tell the government about the protest. They only did it online. So police are already standing by, and a lot of police and police cars are in this area because they are going out for this protest. And of course, because they didn't apply for the government to approve them for this protest, the police are trying to stop them, and that is why from messages on the online forums that a lot of people got stopped and searched. And let me talk about what are they protesting for. So they are protesting for, let me turn the camera around. So as you can see, not sure if you can see, but there is two police, and a lot of more police are around the corner because of the protest. And the protest is, the aim for the protest is actually about the COVID-19 testing, and just going to walk around. So the protest is about the COVID-19 the health code. So they're worried that after the scheme was launched, the Hong Kong government will launch the health code, which they were worried that the health code will track all their locations using a GPS in them. And because with the health code there's 3 colors, and it is set by the government, and with these 3 colors it will decide whether you can leave your home. So the Hong Kong protesters are worried that they will be tracked by the government, by the CCP, and sort of that. And also, other than the health code that they are protesting against, and of course the national security law that was implemented by the CCP in Hong Kong on the 1st of July. So they are protesting against this one. And then other than that, they are also protesting about the postponement of the Legislative Council. So the Hong Kong government has postponed the Legislative Council in Hong Kong for a year. So the Chief Executive Carrie Lam also announced that it will postpone to a year. So originally today is the date for the election, but it was postponed a year after, so it will be on the September 5th, and that is why people are coming out to protest. And I'm so sorry that I'm not going to cover today's protest because, as you can see just now, I don't have my gears with me, and I don't really feel safe to cover and protest right now because I don't have the press card that was issued by the Hong Kong Journalists Association. That is why it's not approved by the police. So I'm not going to cover today's protest, but I'm just going to walk around and let you guys see what is going on in Hong Kong and talk about the Hong Kong Universal COVID-19 testing scheme today before the whole rally starts at around 2:30. So as you can, I'm not sure if you guys can see, but there are a lot of guard police walking around and police cars standing by. Yeah, so well, that's basically about the rally. So they claim that the rally is going to be very peaceful, a peaceful march, just to show that disapproval towards national security law, health code, and the postponement of the Legislative Council. So let me just go back to talk about what Ateni. Sorry, I don't really know how to pronounce your name, but to answer your question, the political situation, I don't think it's really calming down right now, but because there are a lot of protests. They got another protest, but I'm not sure if in the future there will be as much as a protest as before. Yep. And there are a lot of journalists here. So just going to talk more about the COVID-19 testing scheme. Oh, right. Today the protests are walking from Jordan to one of the most crowded area in Kowloon in Hong Kong, which is Mong Kok. Yeah, so I'm just going to talk more about the COVID-19 community testing. Just going to turn back around because there are a lot of police in front of me. So, as I was saying, all of the Hong Kong residents are valid to go to do this COVID-19 testing, and anyone holding a valid Hong Kong ID card or birth certificate with no symptoms, and it is a one-off free voluntary COVID-19 testing scheme, and the whole universal scheme will be tested using nose and throat swab to collect samples, and people who test negative will get their text messages got a text message on their phones, but who got positive result will be informed by the Department of Health immediately and sent to specific facilities or hospitals for isolation and treatment. Hi. Hi everyone. I'm so sorry. It just suddenly pops out of the application just pops out. So sorry. So I'm back. So I was talking about like the COVID-19 um, COVID-19 testing scheme. So the scheme got a lot of different opinions. They got a lot of different. How can I put it? Like a lot of people against the testing scheme, while a lot of people also think that it's a great idea. So I'm just going to talk briefly about why there is a controversial in between. So some people thinks that it's a great idea that the Hong Kong government is doing something to protect their citizens and trying to avoid another wave of coronavirus happening in Hong Kong, because the third wave hit Hong Kong very hard. So the third wave just ended recently, almost came to an end. We got around 9 cases of coronavirus yesterday, if I didn't remember wrong, and it's gradually dropping the numbers. So, well, it's a great news, but amid of this third wave of coronavirus, the Hong Kong government also launched as I was saying, the COVID-19 testing scheme. So people could do the one-off free testing without paying $1 to do the testing. So some people think that it's a great idea to ensure themselves and their family that they're safe, and to ensure that they do not carry any COVID-19 virus on themselves. So, and it's also great because it's free of charge. But some people, on the other hand, thinks that it's a way that the CCP are collecting our DNA. And I'm just going to turn around. Yep. So they're worried that the government are trying to collect their DNA samples and maybe launched a health code after the testing scheme has launched. So as you can see, there are tons of police over here, because this is one of the main streets here. It's the Nathan Road, and there are now the protesters are planning to go through this road, to go to Mong Kok through the Nathan Road. So that is why I'm just walking around to show you guys. But yeah, so the universal scheme, as I was saying, they're also worried. A lot of people are also worried that there will be a lot of fake positive cases. So if you got like positive one, but actually you aren't, so you have to go to the isolation hospital as well. They are worried that that they will easily caught COVID-19 because of that. Like originally they didn't have the COVID-19, but because they took the test and it shows positive, but actually they don't, they will caught COVID-19 easily. So yeah, that's basically it. So today the protest is against the health code and the health code, the national security law, and the postponement of the legislative council. So I'm going to talk about what the Hong Kong protesters are worried about towards the health code. So health code is actually it's like a system with 3 colors: red, yellow, and green. So with these 3 colors, it can determine whether you can leave your home. So So the they're worried that with this health code implemented, they can track where they're going and even limit them, well, and also banning them from leaving their home because the whole system was controlled by the government, they think, and they're worried that the government would also track their location and maybe their everyday lifestyle being monitored as well. But it's only, we're not sure about it. It's just some kind of conspiracy thoughts, or maybe they're thoughts from theories from the Hong Kong protesters. So, sorry, it's really bright here. I barely can see the comments. So the dog walker guy asked, what does yellow represent? So in Hong Kong protests, yellow represents as protesters, as revolution in Hong Kong. It started in the Umbrella Revolution in 2014. So yellow and black are represent as Hong Kong protests. Yeah, as protests, as revolution in Hong Kong. So whenever you see like people saying that they're in the yellow side or the blue side, it means their political stance. So for blue, it means they're pro-government, pro-CCP. Yeah. And as for yellow, that means that they're pro-democracy. Yeah. So another comment say, do the protesters have any chant or signs, or does it continue to be silent? So actually, they're planning to chant today in today's protest. But again, I'm really sorry because I'm not going to to cover today's protest. But from the internet, I got some translation from some information about their slogans. So I'm just going to talk about the new ones first. So today they're going to chant the first one about fight for freedom until our last breath, and another one is protest until tyrant has stopped. And the third one is delay no more election now. So these three are the new slogans that they're going to chant in today's protests. But the typical one, the classic ones, as you can normally see in videos and live streams about Hong Kong protests, are the Liberate Hong Kong, Revolution of Our Time, Hong Kongers, break a leg, 5 demand, not one less. There are no rioters, only a tyrannical regime. The Hong Kong police know the law but break it. These 5 slogans are the typical one that you can hear normally in Hong Kong protest. Yes, as Warner said, the yellow and blue thing is just like right or left. So if you're a yellow, you're pro-democracy, and if you're blue, you're pro-government. So with these kind of like color codes, they're actually developed with a lot of more slangs and or typical terms in Hong Kong. It's like the yellow economic circle. As you can see previously in Ronald's and Catherine's life, they have already explained what is the yellow economic circle. So yellow economic circle is actually about the restaurants or shops or businesses who have made their stance of supporting the pro-democracy side. So protesters are trying to support them by going to these kind of restaurants and boycotting those who are so-called blue. Blue means that they're in the pro-government side. So another comment asks, are there some Hong Kong police that actually support? It's not my movement. It's the Hong Kong. It's Hong Kong and at first it's an anti-extradition bill movement. So I'm not sure if the Hong Kong police, some of them will actually support the movement, but um, I'm sure that like it's their job to act as the police to yeah, it's their job to do what they should do. So it's unknown whether some of the Hong Kong police are actually supporting the anti-extradition bill movement. So um, so previously I said that it's conspiracy because it was there are no. I'm not saying that I'm not taking a stance here right now. I'm just saying that it's just kind of thoughts that a lot of Hong Kong protesters are thinking towards the um, health code thing. So I'm just going to turn around the camera, and as you can see, there are tons of police cars right now. Just going to stand by here for the protest that I was talking about. So yeah, we're right outside of the mosque in Tsim Sha Tsui. So what is happening to businesses right now? So well, of course, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, so a lot of businesses situation is really bad right now. But the Hong Kong government also tried to support them by having some subsidy for them. So even though a lot of business already closed down, got shut down because the economy is way too bad, but really hope that it all will resume normal. So businesses can go back to normal. But as I was saying that about the yellow economic circle, so it's about about protesters trying to continue their movement, their protest with the using economy instead of other than chanting slogans and stuff. So there are tons of police here right now, and actually I'm scared. Yeah, and so yes, it's difficult to prove whether it's conspiracy theories or actual thing. It's a fact right now, but yeah, it's just let's just keep it open, right? So do a lot of rich Hong Kong people not support the movement? Well, I think it's all personal thoughts, right? Because some of them want, some pro-government people thought that they would love to, they want to have a stable life in Hong Kong. So that is why they don't support the movement. But some things that they would like freedom, so they do support the movement. So I think we can't say directly whether there are a lot of rich people in Hong Kong support the movement or not. So are people still sick here? So, well, the cases of coronavirus have already dropped because at the beginning of the third wave in Hong Kong, there are more than 100 cases every day, but now we got around 9 or 15. I forgot. Sorry. So the numbers have dropped gradually from I think from the beginning of the third wave. So the third wave started in late July. So till now it starts to contain. Yep, and are things mainly contained now? So actually, things are trying to resume normal right now, and the government has also announced that schools are trying to get back to face-to-face on the 21st of September. Yeah, so gradually trying to resume normal right now after the third wave of coronavirus. So, well, I don't really know anyone who have contacted COVID or passed away from COVID, but I will feel, well, thankfully I don't really know anyone, but I really think that we should pay respect to those people, and it's really sad that the pandemic will kill a lot of people and make a lot of people suffer. And shout out to all the medical staff who have worked overnight, worked really hard to save people around the world from suffering from the COVID-19. Well, I'm not sure if the coronavirus will get worse in this winter, but some experts have said that it's a possibility that there will be a fourth wave in Hong Kong, because some assume that the coronavirus will get more active in the cold weather. Have you seen an impact from the national security law? So, well, the national security law really hit Hong Kong, and when it hit Hong Kong, a lot, as I can see in some live streams about the protests in Hong Kong. So a lot of the slogans they can no longer chant about because it will cross the national security law. So like the 5 demand not one last, or the liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our times, these cannot be chanted anymore during the protest. And also about the national security law, I think it's the most obvious one is about the protest. And a lot of people have also been willing to come out to protest anymore. First, it's because of the pandemic. Second, is about the national security law. And as a journalist, I must say that a lot of Hong Kong people, at first, in the beginning of the anti-extradition bill protest, they aren't really concerned about hiding their identities. But especially after the national security law have been implemented, a lot of them have become much more conscious and worried about exposing their identities to the press, worrying that they will get tracked down or get some backlash over what they have said to the media or about their stance, their political stance. So that's basically about the impact of the national security law. And I think a lot of things are going on right now. So other than the the COVID-19 testing scheme, also the separation of power going on, because they're trying to change the liberal studies textbook to say that there's no separation of power. Well, in details, you can go watch Almond Lee's live. I think she have explained really detailedly. So, and yes, people have to be careful on what they're talking about, what they're doing especially after the national security law. So I've been walking around between Jordan and Tsim Sha Tsui for quite some time right now. As you can see, there are a lot of police cars and police standing by around, because the protest is about to start in around 25 minutes or so. And It is planned to be in the Nathan Road, passing through the Nathan Road, one of the major road in Kowloon City. Yeah. So I must say that the protests compared to before the pandemic, it's like so much different right now, because with the pandemic going, not much people are, many people are worried that they will caught the virus and stuff. And but there are also a Q&A session too in the description of the protest. As I was going through their Telegram channel before, some were saying that are you worried that why are you doing this protest amid the coronavirus outbreak? And the organizer has responds that because, well, first the third wave has already almost come to an end, and secondly is because the organizer have thought that the COVID-19 is mainly about your personal hygiene and public health. So as long as you're keeping yourself clean and using protective gear, you'll be fine. So that's what the organizer have said. Yeah, and then they were saying that are you worried that you didn't apply for the government's approval for the protest? And their response that because it's not much use applying them, and they are also doing a peaceful march, so they think that it will be fine. Yeah. So, well, someone asked that, do you feel you will be tracked? Well, I'm not really sure how I can be tracked. Well, I think there will be tons of ways, but it's really an unknown whether the government will be tracking, because, well, I can't say for sure, but I'm just going to say what the government has responded, because a lot of people are worried that, I'm not, that's not about it, but about the DNA collection, they are saying that all the DNA will be destroyed and will stay in Hong Kong within a month. But as you were saying, am I feared that I will be tracked? I'm not really sure how so. Like, yeah. Well, so yeah, that's basically it. Please send me some questions. I will try to pick some and reply them. Based on what I'm talking about right now about the Hong Kong COVID-19 testing scheme or the health code thing. So yeah. So for those who don't really know about the national security law, I'm just going to keep it brief to tell you what's really happening. So the national security got launched in Hong Kong the 1st of July. And the presidency have signed the law just over a month after the bill was first introduced by the central government. And the national security law by now have already caught quite a number of protesters, and including the media tyranny, Jimmy Lai, who owned the Apple Daily, and the Hong Kong activist Agnes Chow was also charged under the national security law. So the national security law is mainly about about sessioning and having foreign relations and stuff. Sessions and the security law. Some also thinks that some protesters thinks that because of the national security law, it defers speech protests and news media critical of the China threaten the freedom towards speech, protests, and press freedom. But well, the government claimed that it has nothing to do about it, and yeah, so so that's basically about what's the national security law. Well, in details, I do recommend you guys to do more research about it, because I'm just going to talk about very briefly. Someone asked, are people trying to immigrate out of Hong Kong? So, yes, and so a lot of people are trying to move out from Hong Kong, considering the economy situation, political situation in Hong Kong. So they're trying to move to places that have more freedom with it, so they don't have to worry about their future or their kids' future. Of course, some of them also would love to remain in Hong Kong, considering Hong Kong as their home, and some of them, because I did interview some people on the street, and some things that they consider Hong Kong as their home, and there will be no place that can replace this place. So this city, so they do not consider to leave Hong Kong. But some pro-government activists also would not say that they would not move out from Hong Kong, because they just want the best for Hong Kong and try to make it more steady. Yeah, and they really want Hong Kong. They really would love to have more steadiness in Hong Kong. So, do you feel safe after the security changes? For me, myself, well, I think personally, I don't really have any threat right now. Well, at this moment, I must say, but I must say that while covering protests, you can see that the police are much more aware about press cards and whether you're a real journalist. So, as a student journalist, I think that's a thing that really always have to keep in mind, that we have to, as journalists, we have to report truly and all those things, because we might worry that what we say will, well, how can I put it, like because the police are trying really hard to ensure every journalist are real journalists. So I personally won't put a lot of risks going to cover about protests. So as I was saying, so I won't be covering any protests today. I'm just going to show you guys around and talk about the COVID-19 testing scheme. Yeah, and things that were related to the scheme. I'm sorry that my answer might not be the perfect one to answer a question. Yeah, but well, again, personally, I don't really see a lot of risk I was taking. I'm not really threatened by now. Are they keeping the number of infected in Hong Kong down? So, the COVID-19 situation is getting better now in Hong Kong, and the third wave has almost come to an end. And as I was saying, the Hong Kong government has also launched the scheme for people to do free testing. Schools are trying to get back to normal back to face on the 21st of September, and we no longer have to go to class through Zoom University, right? And yeah, so the number of infected in Hong Kong has dropped, and it's originally at the beginning of the third wave of the coronavirus. It has more than 100 cases, and a lot of people are very worried about it because, well, it's the coronavirus, right? But then after different restrictions have been imposed, like we cannot go out with more than 2 people, and there was also a time that we cannot have dinners out. All the restaurants will offer takeaways, but you can't dine in after, I think at first it's 6, and a few weeks ago it was 9 o'clock, and today we can't, like for now, we can't dine in after 10 o'clock. So a lot of businesses are trying really hard to survive amid the situation. So they are trying to provide takeaways for customers. So to trying to manage their businesses, even though the economy was really bad. What is happening with the economy there? Are people out of jobs? Yes, I think a lot of people are unemployed right now because, and also a lot of businesses are not hiring new people. So other than many employments in Hong Kong, and there are a lot of fresh graduates struggling to find a job right now after their graduation. So it's been really hard. Not, of course, it's not only in Hong Kong; it's in a lot of places. But considering the situation here, the Hong Kong government is trying to resume everything back to normal since the cases of COVID-19 has declined. So I'm just going to turn the camera over. So yeah, as you can see, there are tons of police. And police cars. In front of me, I think it's about some stop and searches. But I'm not going to go close to them. So yeah, it's the Hong Kong government giving money to small businesses to keep open. Yes, the Hong Kong government have provided subsidy to some of the small and medium enterprises to ensure them keep on running, even though the situation was really bad. Because, well, it's not only the pandemic that hit Hong Kong. Before the pandemic, there were a lot of businesses because of the movement, the social movement in Hong Kong. So with these two combined, it's been more than a year since everything was normal in Hong Kong. So I can't answer whether the police are from mainland China because there's no way to confirm them. Yeah, but I can say that there are a lot of police right now standing by. Yeah, so that's basically it. Oh. Do you see a lot of stop and searches by the police? Right now, no. But when I was passing by just now, I saw a couple of them got stopped and searched. Why are they searching people? So um, to answer that, because they are trying to look for some protesting equipment or like uh, banners or banners or some kind of protest related items, and to make sure that so sorry to cut them off, but this guy, as you can see, the flag up there, it's saying that I want real election. So they were saying that they want real election because first of all the election got postponed, and then 12 pro-democracy people got disqualified from the election as well. So that is why they're holding up the sign of I want real election. Yeah, and let me get back to the answer why they are searching people. So they are searching for illegal items like the as I was saying, the banners, protest related items, banners, or even some alcohol or things that can lit up. So to avoid having some how can I put it, the bombs that the protesters were using. Oh, sorry about poor English, but yeah. So that's why they were searching people, because and I think that a lot of protesters will get charged. Is that because we got a restriction of not allowing us to gather with more than 2 people. So that is another thing that a lot of police will charge protesters and journalists with. It's called the 599G. So that's a restriction that was imposed by the government for the coronavirus pandemic to avoid the widespread of the virus. So do they get arrested for carrying banners? Yes, I think so. Oh my God, there are a lot of police. So as I was saying that with the national security law, these kind of wordings are not allowed anymore in Hong Kong during the protests and stuff, because it will be counted as protesters who chanted this kind of slogan will be charged will be assumed as they are supporting the independence of Hong Kong. So I assume that this is one of the organizers. So just going to let you guys take a look, but I'm not going to go any closer. Okay. Yeah. So this is the place that they have planned to start the whole protest at, and that is why there's a lot of police officers standing by. And there were just now there was I assume as the organizers who is giving a statement to the media. I'm just going to move away from that because, as I was saying, that I don't plan to cover today's protest. Are the protest is part of a certain group, or Is it regular people who are mad? Well, there are a lot of political groups that are supporting the whole movement thing, but because the whole protest are organized through online forums, there are a lot of Hong Kong regular people also supporting the movement. Yeah. Do you see Western media there? Well, sorry, I already left the whole scene, but just now, just by glance, I don't notice any. But I'm sure that some Western media will be there as well. I'm not sure. Or maybe because it's not really a big protest. But to the organizers, today is a really big day because it was the election. Originally, it was the election day of the Legislative Council, but the chief executive have announced to postpone the election for a year. And well, this is also one of the reasons why the protesters are coming out today on the street. So, yeah, so there are tons of people on the street, but I'm not sure if any of them are trying to go to the protest, because as suggested in the details of the protest, the organizers has suggested all people to dress in casual wears and change to all black coats during the protest and change back to casual wears after the whole protest is ended. So how many people are expecting to come out to protest? So there was actually a vote I saw on Telegram channel. Half of them have shown that they will come out to protest. Well, but for real, we don't know. It's like, well, it's all on media. But well, it's a big day. It's hard to predict if there will be a lot of people hanging out today. And yes, so yes, the Hong Kong government has postponed for a year. Yeah. How often are protests right now? So compared to a year ago, there are really not much protests anymore, and protesters aren't that violent with throwing gasoline bombs and everything. They're just chanting our slogan, and I don't really see the Hong Kong police are firing out tear gas anymore. They're mostly using pepper sprays to disperse the crowd. Yeah, so compared to a year ago, protests was not that regular anymore. Yeah. Do you need to always use VPN to hide your identity on the internet? Well, personally, I don't really use VPN because I'm not scrolling on some political or some sensitive stuff. But it's worth to dig around to see if a lot of people are using VPN as well. So on some online forum, they suggest to use VPN to hide their identities. And but well, personally I don't. But it's worth to look more and find more people and ask them if they're using VPN to hide their identities. Earlier there was a question from Little Island saying that do I see Western media? Well, another Western journalist just walked past me just now, so I guess there are some Western journalists as well. And as you can see, this is another person got stopped and searched. So different people are mostly youngsters are being stopped and searched right now because the police are trying to identify who are planning to go to the protest and whether they have anything protest related on their in the bags or yeah. How is the average day-to-day living in Hong Kong? So, well, with the pandemic going, I think it's pretty normal. Like, it's normal for us to work from home now and going on lesson through Zoom. So that's the average for now. That's the regular day-to-day for now. But thankfully, the pandemic, the third wave has come to an end. So the office are starting to open up to let the employees to go back to work, and students can also go to face-to-face classes. It will resume on the 21st of September. And some of the universities have also announced, like the Hong Kong University of Hong Kong also announced that their student will go back to face-to-face study. Yeah. So things are trying to get back normal right now. It's been quite some time since everything was normal. Ever since the whole social movement started in July 2019, and then the pandemic hit in Hong Kong, mainly in February 2020 until now. And we got 3 phases, and we just ended the third wave of the pandemic. So with the new way of things, are people going into jails like they do in China for talking about stuff? Well, I'm not sure for China, but I think, well, if you're a very big political activist who have been doing the protesting for a long time and have been affecting a lot of people, it will be a great risk for you to be charged under the national security law, seeing from various cases like the Agnes Chow stimuli. So, but for now we're not sure. But what we're sure is that if you go on protest and chant out some slogans, you will definitely be charged. Not sure if the national security law is that serious, or maybe just the 599G restriction for gathering during the COVID-19. But yeah, there are a lot of police around because this protest has been promoted online in online forums. Have been promoted in all kinds of online forums, including LIHKG. It's a Hong Kong online forum. I think it's been almost a week since it's promoted. Yeah. So I think that's basically it. So I'm not sure what's about the protests happening in the U.S. I just followed the whole the beginning of the protest, so I can't really give you my opinions towards that right now. But I'm sure that different countries are undergoing different kind of um, situations right now. Even though we are trying to fight against the pandemic. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's basically it. So if you guys have any questions, just leave your questions in the comment box. I'll try to get back to you guys, but sorry if my answers aren't really that good. But I'll try my best to reply all of you guys. Oops. Yeah, but I think the whole protest in this in this area is about to start. As I saw that a lot of journalists was running to near the area that we saw the organizers was giving a statement for just now, around 20 minutes or so, I think. So I think it's about to start, and I'm about to leave this area because I'm not going to cover the protests. But thanks for everyone for tuning in. I will try to keep you guys posted, and I'm really sorry if I didn't catch your questions. And yeah, but I will keep you guys posted. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.